sit. We're going through doorways. We always have him sit before we open the door because it's harder for the dog to stay in a sit stay. See how he popped up? We've never practiced at this door before. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to do a little do-over circle. It's one of the things I call that. And you've seen me do it throughout this video. He's waiting at this boundary. He's actually never been out here, so he's thinking, wow, what's out there? He's really interested. So this would be the hardest boundary on my property to do this at. So he's sitting. I step out. He waits till I come back next to him. And the leash is always loose. You're never restraining him. If you do that, it'll cause stress and it'll cause overstimulation and he won't be able to focus and the training will fall apart. So always keep that leash loose. And if he gets up, it's a tap and release and that puts him back. It's about that gentle too. It's really gentle. So he waits till you come back. Okay. And a lot of dogs rush through the doorway, so you might even have to kind of reinforce that calm exit through the threshold like this. Okay. And I'm going to do it on the way in as well. Now close the door first. I'm going to say sit. And then I'm going to step in. I hope you can see this. And then I'm going to step back. He's waiting for me to come back to get him. Okay. And then in here, I'm going to have to close the door. So you're always turning into him. Obviously, you see this throughout the video. You're always turning into him. You're never going this way and dragging him around. Your body's doing all the work, and that keeps the leash loose. And all you have to do is do that move, and because he already knows how to do it, he's been doing it with us, so he'll do it with you. You just have to practice a little bit. When you're inside, if you're going to let him be free, let's say you just came in from taking him to the outside to go to the bathroom or something, have him, so you do all that, and then you have him sit, and you always release him from a calm sit stay, and it's go, and then he's free. Here we go. Sit. Walk him up to the mat. Make sure that you send him there from a calm sit stay. Go to your mat. Walk over with him. Say down. Stand out in front of him with your reward. Make sure that he waits. Good, until you start to withdraw. You know, he's very quick and hyper. And of course, you know what he was like before. So this is a great improvement. And it's just the kind of dog that he is anyway. So gradually, as you practice this, you'll see that he will get more under control and he will be focusing more over time. He's still a puppy, well under a year old. So good. See how he really waits? You want to do that pause for a couple of seconds so he really waits. And it's really that part that is so important that he... Good. Make sure you say good when he takes that part where he's really waiting. He's in the moment with us and he's really playing the game with the rules. He has to wait and focus and wait till I withdraw before he can take it. If he starts trying to touch your hand, you just pull back and you say no, and he'll know what that means, and he'll wait, because that's exactly what I would do, and then you do it the way I just showed you. But maybe at first when I'm not there and you're just first starting to practice this, you have to do that a few times because he's going to try to get away with stuff with you, and he hasn't quite gotten used to doing it with you yet. So you have to be strong and make sure that you set the bar high, and he only gets that reward when he's waiting like that. You withdraw, and then he takes it off the mat, and you say, good. It's always like this. Good. I waited extra long, so I thought maybe he might try to take it, and I would have pulled back, but you can see he's getting pretty good. So you just do my moves, and you will have this with a little bit of practice. There's all sorts of things you can do to test his downstay. You can pull on the leash. Good. Nothing rough, though, of course. Be gentle. Good. The classic thing is, will he stay in a downstay when you leave the room? And so I'm going to go out this door. So he's in a down. If you're going to do something that's difficult for the dog to handle, of course, we're going to say down. It's okay to remind him what to keep doing. Go out the door, knock on the door, come back, he's still there, he gets a reward. I'm going to give him a double reward because that's really hard for any dog to do. No. Make sure he waits. Good. Now we're going to go out, and I'm going to go to this window. That's difficult as well. I'm going to remind him again, down. And also, this person's moving around a lot there behind the desk, which doesn't help, but it's good because he's still in downstay. Him right here, the window, and he's looking at me, but he's not jumping up. So I'm coming back. And by the way, he's never practiced in this room before. This is the first time he's ever done anything here. And good. If they associate behavior to a location, and it's extra hard for them to not do their best in a new location. That's why once he's perfect in whatever room you're practicing in, and he never makes a mistake no matter what you do, it's time to put him in a different spot, because you always need to be pushing the envelope. But because we've done this, no, see that? He's losing focus. I'm talking a lot, so nope. Okay. He's big into things, little things on the floor or on the ground. Even though that was nothing, he still is interested in it. So you just reset him exactly the way I did it. Because you always want to end this exercise on your terms. Good. Him following the rules. See how I straightened him out? That's really the way he should be. And then he's waiting for me to come back next to him. Okay. Sit. And then go. So you saw that I stepped back next to him. I said, okay. I let him off the mat. I had him sit. And you always release from a calm sit stay. It's always, it starts with a calm sit stay, which it did. Any training does, actually. And then it ended with a calm sit stay. We released him from that, and he's free. And that is how to do the mat exercise. Okay, buddy. Sit. You always have him sit and wait before you put him in the crate. If he pops up like that, you say no. And you can do your little do-over turn like that and reset him. It's just a very gentle pressure on the leash, and then his butt goes back into the sit, and then you release it. So you're not popping, jerking, there's no rough stuff. It's very gentle but firm and consistent. It's loose, so if he does pop up, there's another way to do this. Nope. See how I tapped him and he went back? He really needs to wait. See, the leash is loose, he's really waiting. No, and then he loves his crate, as you can see. Go! He goes in, he runs in the crate, and the reason he loves it is because about 1,000 times, or something like that, since he's been here for a while, he gets a reward when he goes in there. So the way we've been doing it is he goes in there, he sits and waits, he gets allowed to go in there, and then when he goes in there, we take off his little training collar, and then another treat, and you can put blankets or a doggy bed, whatever you want to put in there to make it comfortable. At my house, he's been sleeping in there overnight, and he eats his meals in there, so when it's time for a meal, you put him in there, you go get the food, or maybe you have it on top ready already. He goes in, you give him the food. You always close the door, because the whole power of the crate is that you control the boundary. You control his access in, and you control his access out. That's what makes this so important, because as you can see, dogs they really notice boundaries, and so we're always practicing at boundaries, and it makes this just putting him in and out of the crate much more powerful than if the door's open and he's just allowed to come in and out. It might as well just be a cardboard box, with no door. So every time that we put him in that way. It's probably 6 times a day at least in my house. Every time we take him out, we do it exactly like this. When we take this little training collar off, we just hang it on the door like that. And then when you're going to take him out, you attach the leash to the kind of funny looking buckle. There's 2 of them, 2 things here. There's a spacer, which is a round ring, and you don't touch that. That's just a spacer. It should be like this. The chain should not be twisted. And it should be easy to just reach in there and put it around his little neck. And as you can see throughout the videos, it's not for causing pain, and it doesn't cause pain. It just helps you control him. And it really will help you, not having done this training before, to just, it's kind of like having power steering on your dog in a way, as opposed to manual steering, which would just be his regular collar. So I open the door, he gets a little treat. It's the same way every time. We reach in, we hook up the training collar. It's hooked up now because I already put the leash on it, so it was all ready to go. And I do this little exercise, just another one of the many ways we practice having him be calm and wait for our permission. We practice this little boundary training exercise in the crate. No, if he tries to come out, and this is a place we've never been before, and so he's really not familiar with doing this here in this room, which makes it even harder. Good. You see how if he waits, he gets a reward, but if he doesn't, I do a little token no, like that. You're not slamming it on his face, you're not causing pain, but he already knows how to do this, so I'm just showing you good how to keep doing it because he's been taught, so we've taught him how to do it. No. So you just continue doing it because he already knows how to do it. It's really about you learning my moves. Good. And see how I'm gradually stepping back. You got a 6-foot leash here, and you could even step back further, but I think I'll disappear behind this wall. But you get the point. Good. He waits at that boundary. He waits for permission to come out. He gets rewarded when he really waits. Okay. You allow him to come out like that. Always close the door because obviously you're squandering your power of the crate by leaving the door open. You can just run in and out, and it's no point in doing the exercise. But every day we put him in that way and we let him out that way. We don't always do the exercise, but at least once a day I'll do that little waiting at the boundary and stepping back exercise. This really helps, and that kind of helps you in other places too, like the front doors and back doors and curbs and everywhere else where you do boundary training. And that's how we use the crate. Okay. Good. Now, when you say SIT like that, he needs to sit there and he needs to stay. And we're doing this in a very busy place so you can see how good his sit-stay is. And all I'm doing now is just doing a little walk-around sit-stay. And when we complete that and he successfully does it, I'm going to walk back next to him with a reward. Nope. So that's one of his things, is to jump up. And you might do that if you're in a really exciting situation. And by the way, I'm only giving him treats for sit now in a situation like this. I don't give him treats for sitting just around the house and around the yard because that's easy. So we save the rewards now for the difficult situations only. But back to that jumping up thing, which he always used to do. The way to get over that gradually is like this and straight down. No, straight down so that he doesn't have the opportunity to jump. And practice that, and so let's just do that a couple times. I'll step away, come back to him. Good. And say good when you give him the treat. Make sure he stays there. And we have a lot going on here, so there's lots of noise. Good. So that's the way I'm rewarding him, because you don't want to hover over him with that reward because he'll just jump up to try to get it. That's one of his things. So good, straight down like that. And over time, you're going to see that that gets better and better. And we're in just a really crazy place. As you can see, people are talking to me and I'm ignoring them, and they're talking to him, and everybody loves him because he's so cute. So this is like worst case scenario that he does this. It'll be so much easier when you're practicing at home, in your yard, wherever, where there's, not even close to this amount of distractions. So we did a little sit stay. You saw me reset him a couple times. I either say no and pull up with a little bit of tension. It's always very gentle. Or I just, okay, like let's say he popped up. I'm going to say no. I'm going to step into him. Just do a little circle with my body like that and put him back. I don't say sit again, just one time. Just usually say it the first time. And then if he makes mistakes after that, it's just no and reset him, no and reset him. And that's the way we taught him this. Stay is implied. We don't have to say stay because he knows to wait until I come back next to him. And he's always on your left with my right hand. Just going to pat his chest and say, see how the leash is loose? Go. And let him be free. And we're doing it out here to just show you how successful he can be with the training in the worst possible, most exciting situation. We have, you know, everything going on around here. It's a rainy day as well, so we need a dry place to practice. But he's doing really well with all these distractions. Why don't you pan to your left and just show what's going over there. Keep going. And just show everything, and then pan to your right, and you can see everything. Down. And just because we're in such a difficult place for him to focus, I did a little help with him where I just went like that, but I didn't really, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, I didn't put any pressure on the leash. It's just doing this, even without the leash, will trigger him to go down now, because in the beginning I sort of used my foot to help him learn what DOWN meant. But now, you know, of course, just like with the sit, nope, and if he's distracted by something, which is a crumb that was on the ground, you just say no, and you gently but firmly reset him. You're always turning him away from his mistake and resetting him. When you do that, it's so much better than not doing it, because when you do that, it just resets his brain, resets his mind, so that he's got a chance to have another result. And he's very used to that move, and you see we reset him, and now he's staying there. His stay is getting a little bit calmer. And I'm just walking around him both times. If he were to pop up before I released him, I'd say no. And if you're in front of him like that, you can just say no and do this, the leash, and he'll go back down. If he pops up, you're gonna reset him with doing that circle and just do this and put him back, and he'll know what that means. And you can, when you're practicing the down, you can do all kinds of other things to test his down stay, like pull on the leash and he'll stay there. This is the way you reward him. See how I'm good, waiting, making sure that he's waiting, like this far away. I place it on the ground, withdraw, and he takes it off, the reward off the ground, and I say good. And I'll do that a couple of times, you can see it. He's very excited, but he's still staying in his stay. See that? No. If he even moves towards it, you pull it away and say good. You pull it away and say no. When he does it the right way, you say good when he accepts the reward. Timing is very important. If he pops up like that, it gives me an opportunity to say no. See how it's really about just what you do with your foot. It's not even about touching the leash. But he's just loses focus here. We have people behind the camera person. Everybody's watching. He's very cute. Everybody loves him. He's a big hit here at the construction store. And he's allowed to look at things as long as he just doesn't pop up. Because a down stay, when I say down, when you say down, it means to stay there until we release him. And we only release him in one very specific way. And that's what he's learned. That's what we always practice. Just one way. Good. And if he pops up before you release him that one way, no. He's got to go back. So he only is allowed to come out of a DOWN when you come back next to him. You come back to get him, for example. Okay, and sit. So always release him from a calm sit. Say, you can walk past. It's okay. No, it's okay. We want you to. It's fine. Thank you. It's real life. People are walking around. A lot of people want to go behind the camera, so you're not even really seeing. A lot of people are just stopping there and going around. There's a lot going on over this way. So anyway, you say, okay, he gets up and you have him sit, and you always release him from a calm sit stay. Not straight out of a down, because he'll hop up and run around and be super hyper. So it's okay, sit, and then you can reinforce a calm release from a sit stay so much easier. Make sure he stays calm with your right hand. No. You're going to pat his chest and say go. And then he's free. And he may try to rush off, so we have this leash on with a little training collar, and you just tap it. Everything's super gentle with him. It's never rough. He's very sensitive, so you don't ever have to use any muscle at all. And you see how we're using the leash? We're just tapping it. come. If something's coming that he might be scared of, like that guy with the cart, wearing a hat, all that stuff that people are afraid of, wheels and men with hats, all that, just call him away. All you have to do is practice, come, practice your recall. If he's getting in somebody's way, if there's something he's really into grabbing stuff on the ground.
Dog keeps looking at me like, hey.
You want to use your commands. Come. Call him away. Good. And it works really well. It gets him away from that situation, whatever it is, gets him away from that thing that's on the ground that's gross. And you don't have to say leave it, which doesn't mean anything. It's just a noise you make. And it engages his mind to do the opposite of what he's about to do. He turns his back on it, no matter what it is, comes running back to you. He gets paid for that, so he can't wait till somebody calls him to come again. So that's how many times we practiced it. And if you didn't have a treat, I'll show you what to do. You don't have to have a treat. So I'm going to create a distraction. Go. He's going to go get that. Come. Good boy. Love him up extra. He didn't know that was empty. So you see, I'm always calling him to this target hand. So he doesn't know it's empty. All he knows, when you practice, you're going to have a reward, so that when you don't have a reward and you don't even have a leash, it works every time, and you love him up extra. Give him extra love when he comes and you don't have a reward, because you see how we're doing it. When we do have a reward, it's come, it's good, and the pet and the reward simultaneously, everything at once. And so when there's no treat, he probably barely misses it now, because we've done it so many times. But you need to keep doing it that way so it gets better and better, even after you get him back. We want him to be even better, because you keep practicing this over time, it gets even better. And you'll have this amazing recall where he'll come away from anything. It could save his life someday, that kind of really good recall. And you see how he's panned to your right. He loves the girls here. They love him. And so let's just keep filming this. And more people are coming, and see how he is. Come. Calling him away from them. Good. It works with anything, especially with the leash, because if he doesn't respond right away, it's a tap like that. Come. Good. But you tap it and you say come at the same moment. But every time we do that, that recall is so much better for when he's off the leash someday too, and it's an emergency. Now we have a real big distraction coming. See how he's looking at this? Come. You're going to see the distraction in a second. Good. That would have been a very dangerous thing for him to be in front of, so I called him away from it. Let's let you sit. So we're just doing this impromptu greeting routine. Who wants to take the treat? And then really quickly, because they're at work, so we got to make this quickly. I stepped away. He's going to sit, stay. Now I'm going to say, go say hi. Get down there and give him the treat. Then pet him. No, give it to him. Don't pull it back. Oh, see? Come. And I call him back to me. Good. Let's do it one more time. Sit. All you got to do, just do this. Okay, so stay there. So look at all these people around. He's really doing well. Okay, here you go. Here's a piece. Okay, so just give it to him and pet him with the other hand. See, if he gets up, you say no. Make sure he waits. He waits for you to say, go say hi. And you can pet him with the other hand. He's a really sweet dog.
Oh my God.
Don't you want to give him the treat? You should get down there. There you go. Petting. And then come. Call him back to you. Good. And that's a great exercise also if he's ever getting too much for somebody. He can get really hyper and he might start play biting or something, who knows. Or he gets too excited. See that? Come. You don't want him to get too excited. The guy's got gloves on and everything. He's super excited. So use your recall when things get out of hand. Get him out of that situation just like this. And every time you practice it, he gets a little bit better, a little bit easier to handle a situation like this.